everybody, it's MicheleMarieDalene, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. Two or three differences. We're going to be doing multiple camera angles today. What I mean by that is we're going to be using, for this demo, we're going to be using several different shots of the cameras. And before we do that, let me explain the objective of this video. Two things. One, to learn and experiment with using multiple shots, different positions, because we're going to be doing, number two, we're going to replace these RJ45 plugs on this cable with our balance for our camera, which we're going to be using for the Commodore 64 demo. Now, the Commodore 64 XC1541 cable did not come in yet, but this part did. So I'm going to show you how to put these plugs on, and to do that, I'm going to bring the camera a lot closer to me. Now, before we start cutting the cable up, and I don't even know if I'm in frame, so wish me luck. This is the brand new 100 feet long cable. The problem is it's 100 feet. It's really, really long. It's really too long for my work. So we're going to cut this down to size. So I'm going to cut this clip here. I attached it with. Oops. Now, I don't need a full 100-foot length, but what you're going to do is we're going to do one end and then leave the other end uncut, because that way, if we choose later on to use this thing for another connector. Now, what we do now is I cut the end off. These are my alignments. Save the boot, because the boot you can use, this is recyclable, okay? Now, here you see inside this cable you have 4 pairs of wires. Now, I'm going to say something to you right now, and I want you to listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen, because this is important. Whatever colors you choose to carry a video signal is up to you. However, you definitely going to want to keep the same colors consistent throughout your installation. So if you choose to use a certain pair, that's great. Also, while you're at it, make sure you didn't accidentally strip into the wire. I did. Oops. So some of these cords have a zip like this one has. So just they're gonna need longer length anyway for the other room. Now, I'm going to use the white, orange, and the white, green to carry video set. The other 2 pairs right now I'm not going to use at this moment. Okay, I'm just wrapping it around the cable, which will act as kind of a strain relief. And also, we'll keep it out of my way. Okay, now our balance and this is the one with the RCA plug on the end. We're going to use that one. Okay, but our balance, as you can see, we only need really to use one balun to go to the Commodore 64 demo, not 2. But I'm going to show you how to put this on anyway. Now, you don't need to go crazy with stripping wire, because I would say maybe about 3 millimeters is really all you need to do. Because why I say that is because if you put this connector into the end, please note there's a polarity here. I don't know if you can see it, but this is plus and minus. Keep it consistent on both ends. In this case, And here we'll use our minus wire. Let's just strip this a little more back, a little more. Okay, don't worry about if you screw it up. It's for video. It does matter, but it's not like you're gonna blow up your camera if you get it wrong. Okay, when you're doing power, that does matter. Okay, so you slip again, but what is important is you got to keep the colors consistent. I'm basically doing this live, so to speak. So take the insulator. You think that's enough insulation pulled back? I would have thought so, but maybe I need to strip this a little more. You just want to strip just enough that you get a good. Oh wait, I like to get right down to the throat of the connector. Okay. Again, white. Okay. Now, you take a small flathead or Phillips. In this case, I got a flathead. And you just tighten up the screw like that. Okay. Excuse me, I don't think kitty saliva is going to help. Okay, so basically at this point, I only need one connector for right now. Okay, so, but you're going to need a sync connector on the other end anyway. Yeah, so, those are the other side. Right, because this is going to be the part that goes into the format FS10. Remember I told you, pick a color scheme that works for you. Okay, keep it consistent along all your designs. Okay, don't act like it's not a big deal or whatever. It does matter, because especially if you're going to start carrying power. And our final product, we are going to have a DC power leg coming off these cables as well. But for right now, we're not using the DC, so that doesn't really matter at this point. But we will be eventually. Tighten up the screws, snug. You don't need to use a torque wrench for this. It's just a standard flat hybrid Chinese screw. Okay. So now that's done. So this part is going to be the end that's going to go to our computer or to our video gear. Now we're going to be using. We have to do the video in NTSC because we don't have a PAL Camera 64 or PAL converter, so we're going to use this camera here, which is a CP234. So again, going to loosen up the screws. Okay. Now, one of the original terminal screws on this thing, we have lost the compression thingy, so we're using a washer for that. So we have to loosen the screw up quite a bit and make sure to put the washer come out. Okay. So we have our AC wall wart for the camera. You can see it's pretty big, right? It's always, this can power easily 10 of these guys. I only need to use one for one right now. And the color schemes that we're using follows European standard colors. So, which means that you got your, it doesn't really matter, but what the hell. You got your hot, that's brown, your neutral, that's blue, and you have your green with a yellow tracer. Right now the green with the yellow tracer isn't hooked up. Now, since this is AC and not DC, it's really polarity agnostic. So, I do is I'm going to stick the wire, you can see it right there, I'm going to stick this wire into the screw hole. Okay. And then I'm going to tighten that down. So it's like this. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with the other wire. So you can go upward as 2. I just want to have to go downward because it's easier for me to use downward force. But if I was to go upward, it would be the same process. Now, same thing. Because this screw here isn't really the right original thingy, it takes a little more work to get it in. Oops. Okay. Now, since you may wonder about the earth wire, if you really wonder if you should attach the earth wire, you can. There's no reason why not to. That's what this blank screw here on the side is for. The 3 earth pin. So, what you do then is... really don't have to do, but it might be a good stream relief. Okay. If you want to tin these wires and solder them together as a solid conductor, that works fine too. Now there is a washer here underneath. I just gotta, again, just like I did for the neutral, I gotta bring this out. The difference is this is the original pin, it's not a washer. Let's just tighten the screw. I'm just gonna use this more of a strain relief than an extra electrical connection. Okay, so now that is attached. Okay, so you got your earth connection, you got your neutral connection, and you got your hot connection. And you just make sure all the wires are tight. Okay. Now, since we're using balance anyway, and we have extra balance, we're going to use the other wire so that we can have the camera connection. Why not? I got the wire right here. The first thing you're going to notice about this wire, unlike the wire that we originally were using, is this stub is really, really thin. This is not very forgiving at all. This stub is... Okay, now remember I told you, whatever colors you choose is fine. Now, as I said, originally my color scheme was to be the orange-white, and the white-orange is going to carry signal. So, again, you can see I use green, white, white, green here, but that's okay. And I do have the other orange ones here. So what I want to do, because this doesn't need a balun with a RCA plug on it. Just needs a PNC plug on this end. Okay. Okay. Just take the same colors consistently. Consistently is always important. You take the white wire and it goes into the minus terminal. If you want to go the opposite way, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. Just tighten it down. Okay. Same thing over here. Stick this wire in here. Okay. Now, assuming your cables are electrically connected correctly, and that you got a good solid connection, that's going to be an important test. Test that outdoors. Then our balun will connect into our camera through the BNC connector. on the other side of this, we will connect. I mean, this is 25 feet long. This is really long. I really didn't even need all this length. Okay, same deal. Okay, now I already have these. Now, for the switch box for which we're going to use for our video, we do need the RCA plug in the end. So, we use the RCA plug. Okay. Okay, that's done. The next step is we're going to now take these connections and hook these up to the computer in the other room. What I'm also going to do is, because of the fact that we got all these length wires and I don't want to break anything, I'm going to try to find a way to keep these guys together. So, and actually acts as a strain relief. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of electrical. This is just so because this wire is so thin. I'm talking about the category 5 cable. You really want to make sure it doesn't get wrenched too bad. It's gonna get wrenched, but try not to strain it, okay? Then on the other end, do the same thing. Now, by the way, if you in testing your connection, you find out that you're having problems with video and audio, or like just happened here, the wire broke off, which just happened. Unlike a standard PNC plug, you can actually take these off again and reconnect them. They're reusable. Make sure you get this piece of scab and wire out of there. See, this is why I don't want these wires. This wire was just too thin for my work. Okay. Sorry. If you actually peel off too much conductor like this, I stripped it too much. It's okay. You can always just trim it out back. But since we're going to be using it for a video demo anyway, I don't think it really matters how much you trim it back. So I'm going to trim it back just a little bit. Okay. Again, keep the polarities the same. Polarity matters. Remember I told you. So, white is minus in. The other color is positive. So, stick it in there. Tighten the screw down again. By the way, the one thing about the video demo, I want to make sure you understand this right now. This will be a very difficult demo to do, only because of the fact is that we're going to be doing something that almost every videographer and video technician is going to tell you is probably the biggest cardinal sin, which is we don't have a gen lock. So what's going to happen is we're going to, and you probably see it in this video too, is the system is going to have to retrain every time I switch between camera modes, because there's no central sync generator or gen lock capabilities on this camera. So, okay, so the next step is I'm gonna go set this gear up, and now we're gonna use my iPhone, and once I'm get this set up, and we'll show you how we're going to go ahead and do the rest of the demo. So from now, we're going to go right over to the iPhone, and then we'll come back. And when we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and set the processor to NTSC, and then we'll test everything, dry run, and see if it works properly. Okay? The first thing you'll notice is we have our balun connections in here, like we did before. One is our audio, video in, which is on the yellow and, the orange and the white, and the other one is white and green is for video output. On this camera, it doesn't have that option, so that's not an issue. Sound is going to be the normal way, and if you look at the screen, you're looking at, sorry about the interference, folks, it did pick up some, because of all the computers. You see it says operating system not found, because unfortunately, the machine that we're going to be using 64 HT, the drivers are currently unplugged, because it was copying files to them. So, let's go and take a look at the business end. Take a look at the other end of the system here. You see again on my composite monitor, it says operating system not found. This is a 3-way switch box, just from Radio Shack. Okay, and like I said, most video engineers would be extremely angry with this design because it's not going to keep it synced. This is no gen lock. So, B is the 64 HD computer. A is the camera 64, which you can see. It's got too much color. I gotta turn the color down a little bit. I guess the color now got bumped. There we go. Okay, so that's 64 side. And to see me, just press the letter B. Hi guys, it's me. Okay, so what the idea is, what it's gonna do is that we'll be able to jump. We're gonna leave like a second or two for the resync between times. So now we can see this, and you can see right now why you really need a gen lock, because of that last effect, you can see it when it jumps like that, is it takes time for the video camera to resynchronize, for the demonstration. Okay, we're on, camera position C, PC on camera position B, and the Commodore 64 on camera position A. In this test, we're going to test several things simultaneously. 1, to make sure that the picture looks good. 2, we're going to go ahead and make sure to see how fast we can switch within reasonable time between screens. So first, we're going to try to switch between screens and then start doing our monologue like 2 seconds later. So 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. The objective here is to see how, within a reasonable period of time, that we can switch between screens. Now we're going to try switching as if I were doing a demo. Here's fast load. Okay. Here's 64 HD screen. Here. Okay. So, okay. The idea is I want to see how fast it can switch between the three, although realistically, I'd probably be more like the speed of this. Here's Commodore 64. Here's 64 HDD. And here's me. Should do it for now. Let's see how it looks.